Let's add a custom advanced item to Minecraft. If you want to go deeper, the 26.x modding courses are linked down below. 30 plus hours covering complex block entities with fluid and energy handling, custom mobs, custom networking, and even custom biomes and dimensions. Everything you need for 26.x all in one place, linked down below in the description. Alright, we find some back and tell you more, and in this tutorial we're going to be adding a custom advanced item to our Minecraft mod over here, Fabric 26.1. Now, an advanced item, what does that even mean? Well, in the context of how I'm using advanced item, it means an item with its own custom item class. This allows you to add a whole boatload of functionality to it, so let's take a look. In the item package, we're going to make a new package called custom. You don't necessarily have to do this, but I like to put the item packet or the item classes into its own package. And then we'll make a new class called the chisel item. So we'll once again make the chisel item. I have found this to be one of the most useful things because it actually really demonstrates a couple of things that you can do, and let's just see. So with this chisel item, we're going to be able to right click a block and then change it from one to another block. That's the whole idea. And a custom advanced item will extend from the item class. So here from net Minecraft world item, there we go. We want to hover over this to create constructor matching super. And in theory, this already, boom, we're already in theory done. We have an advanced item. Now, of course, this doesn't do anything right now, so we want to add some stuff. And what is this stuff? Well, we can override a whole bunch of methods right here, which are called on certain things. So you can see on crafted by, on destroyed, post hurt enemy. So this is when you hurt an enemy, right? When you hit an entity or a mob with this particular item, this is the method that gets called. So there's all sorts of different things that you can call right here, which are very, very interesting. Our main method that we want to look at is the use on method. That is the method that gets called when you right click a block. The use method gets called when you right click into the air. So those are the two different changes right here. And then the use, the on use tick method, I believe if it works correctly, what happens is that you can define the duration of how long you want to right click down. So what you can take a look at, for example, I mean, you can click on the item, press Ctrl H to see all of the different item classes. And for example, we want to take a look at the bow item. If I can find it, let's take a look. This might be, there it is. It's the projectile weapon item, bow item. There we go. And obviously, this is a bit more complicated, as you can clearly tell. We might actually want to take a look at the projectile item over here for the draw and things like that. So that is indeed... Now, it would be on the bow item. So you can see that the use method over here then has the start using item method called. And then when you stop using it, so release using right here, then you can see that the projectile over here gets, well, basically drawn, as you can see, draw, shoot. So all sorts of things happen over here. I highly recommend you go through some of those classes. That's very, very useful. But we want to use the use on method over here. So what are we going to do? Well, we're first of all going to return an interaction result of success. That is going to give us a right-clicking animation when we use this particular item on a block, regardless of what basically happens over here. And then we want to, what I always say, ask some questions. So basically, we want to do some if statement. The idea is that what you can do, for example, is you can just write down what do you want to do. So right click block and then change block from, A to B, whatever it might be. Basically, those are the two things that we want. Okay, fair enough. Now, how does that work? Well, first of all, we need the level. This is a net Minecraft world level. This was previously called the world. So we now want to use the level over here. And getting this via the context.getLevel. We have the use on item context, which is a super useful item class over here. That is, well, I mean, you can see there's all sorts of different things that you basically get from that. Very, very useful indeed. And then obviously, when we change a block from A to B, we have to know what the block is. Well, we can luckily get that via the block over here. So we get the clicked block. And then this is going to be the level.getBlockState. And then passing in context.getClickPause. And then here, get block. And the get block method over here, that does get you the block itself, where the get block state obviously gets you the block state. Now, this is all fine and well, but how do I now know if the block that I right clicked can actually turn into a different block? Well, for that, we're going to use a map. So this is a private static final map from block to block in this case. And this is going to be our chisel map. Are there different ways that you could theoretically implement this? 100%. Do I think that the map here for the time being is going to be the best way to do it? I absolutely think so. So the first parameter of the map here is always going to be whatever we right-clicked and then whatever it turns into. So let's say block stone turns into stone bricks. And then we can just continue and add a couple more. So for example, we can say that end stone is going to turn into end stone bricks. Makes sense as well. And then maybe we could say that an oak, maybe not an oak button, maybe an oak log over here turns into, instead of that, it turns into the fluoride block. Why not, right? And then maybe we can say that the fluoride block over here turns into, I don't even know, what do we want to do? Blocks.nether bricks or something like that? I don't know. And then maybe we can also say that a blocks dot maybe, oh yeah, let's do iron block turns into a gold block. How about that? There we go. We have found the Philosopher's Stone. Obviously, those are, I mean, nonsense-ish, right? In this case, maybe the stone and the end stone, those make sense. The rest is a little bit nonsense, but the idea remains the same, that obviously you can always change them. You can remove certain ones. You can add certain ones. This is, however, really freaking cool for the time being. Now, other mods right now will not be able to add anything to this. You could feasibly make this public, and then maybe they could feasibly do something there. But I think for the time being, there's no easy way in Fabric to make any sort of expandability to this. In NeoForge, you could use data maps for this, where you could just make a custom data map and then that would just read it in. So that would work. Yeah, here it would get a little bit more complicated. So right now, we're just gonna have this for ourselves. That's fine though. So then we ask whether or not the chisel map dot contains key, and the key that it should contain is the clicked block over here. And we also want to check whether or not we're on the server. We do this by saying level.isClient side and then negating this with an exclamation mark. Notice the exclamation mark right here. I know it's like really small. It's really hard to sometimes see, and I have missed those in the past as well. But the idea is that when we are saying, hey, are we on the client side, then we negate it. That means that inside of the if statement, we are on the server. Okay, now why do we need to be on the server? The reason why we need to be on the server is when you change a block inside of the world, that usually happens on the server. Now, theoretically, you can call the setBlock method both on the server and the client, and I think it should be fine. However, we're also going to damage this item stack, and that can only happen on the server. We'll see that in a second. So let's say, for example, we say level.setBlock. We can do a setBlock and update over here, or a setBlock. Either works totally fine. Let's do setBlock and update. And we want to do the following. We want to do this at the position that we've just clicked. So this is context.getClickPosition. And then we want to use the block state of chiselmap.get, passing in the clicked block right here, because we know that the map contains that. And then we want to get the default block state of that. And there we go. Using the setBlock and update method over here, passes in the flag 3. That basically just means that it's going to update the surrounding blocks as well when you do this. So that is pretty neat, and that is basically how you set a block at a specific position. Now on how to break an item, or how to basically hurt it, we want to do context.getItemInHand. We use the hurt and break method, and you can see this one right here takes in the server level. Now, you don't necessarily have to use the server level one. I think you can also use the other ones, although I'm not 100% sure on how they are implemented right here. Hand as equipment slot. Yeah, okay, so you can see, okay, then it gets the server level over here, and then it makes sure that that is only called on the server. That is fair enough. So in theory, you could use the other ones. So let's just take a look at those. So the amount is 1. The living owner is context.getPlayer right here, and then the slot is going to be the hand, and actually we can get that via the hand. The player should not be null, so the warning right here shouldn't be the case, because this is the right-clicking method for this particular item. If you were to give it to a block of another mod that uses a fake player or something like that, there might be, depending on the implementation, an issue with this, but I don't think it is, because I think that there is a, yeah, so the fake player is also a server player, so I don't think that this should be an issue. I don't see a reason why this ever would be null in this case. So we basically should be good to go. And once again, in theory, does this necessarily need to be called right here? I think that without it, it would still function. but it's a good thing to think about where, okay, do I need to call this on the server and the client? Not necessarily. So we are good to go with this. And that is the implementation of this particular item class, right? Once again, there are plenty of other things to override over here. As you can see, is foil will get you a foil. Basically, if it's going to look like it is enchanted, that's that one. And there's all sorts of other things over here that you could theoretically also do. For the time being, we're going to stick with this method and actually just, well, now implement it all right here. So this is going to look slightly differently, but not too bad. So this is going to be a public static final item, of course, and this is going to be our chisel. This is going to be equal to the register item method. I'm going to call this the chisel, and then we're going to have the properties. So you can see it suggests to us the lambda over here, so properties to a new chisel item, because of course we want to make a new chisel item here, and the properties that we're going to give it are going to be the durability of, let's say, 32. So we have 32 uses of this. That's going to be the whole idea. And then it's basically the same thing that we've done previously in the other items. We add the item over here to the creative mode tab, right? So the same thing goes right here. We go for the mod model provider over here, where we just make a flat item for it. There we go. Feasibly, you could also make a handheld item. This would be the same way that it's going to be looking for like tools. So that would also work. You can do that if you want to test something out, so have it look a little bit different. And then we add the translation. There we go. And of course, the texture, which is going to be available to you as well. And just like that, the chisel item is added. So the bulk of the work right here for any advanced item is obviously going to be whatever you want to implement. This is just an idea so that you've seen the use on method. Here, once again, the biggest appeal, number one, having some good Java knowledge is going to be super useful for this. And secondly, just be open to experimentation. Hey, I want to make an item that does XYZ. Just test it out. Hey, I want to make this item that if I right click a cow, it turns into a sheep. Yeah, or I mean, yeah, right click would feasibly even work, but I think hitting it is actually better. But like still, there are things that you can do. You also have access, like I said, you click on the item over here, press Control H, you see every single item class from vanilla, which is one of the best things that you can take a look at. Hey, I want to make something that works exactly the same way as the egg, for example, right? Now it gets a little bit more complicated because all of a sudden you see this like spawn projectile from rotation, you need this thrown egg, and you're like, maybe this is a little bit outside of, the area of like, or the level of programming and mod making that you're at this point, which is totally fine, by the way. But regardless though, that is the idea of the chisel item for the time being. So now let's run the data gen over here, and then let's see the item in the game. Our fans are back in Minecraft, and let's take a look. We can see the chisel has been added, and because of the handheld look at how it looks, I think it looks really nice like that with the handheld one. But let's just see, right? So we just set down a couple of the blocks right here, and then we right click and there we go. We are changing the items, and if we go into survival mode, we can see that we're even right here. That is pretty freaking cool, and we're gonna go even further right here, and I think that that's basically the whole shebang. And those are actually those items as well, or those blocks, I guess, right? They're actually changing, and you can see the chisel is taking damage, and if I, use it like 32 times, then boom, at some point it breaks. Now, was that actually 32 times, or was this only 16? Good question. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it did feel like it was not 32 times. Let's double check. It is actually 32. It just felt like it was a little bit less. But there we go. That is the chisel item added to Minecraft. Pretty awesome. As always, all the code and everything is available to you down below in the description for download and on the GitHub repository, but that's going to be it for this tutorial right here. Next time, we'll tackle the custom advanced blocks. Hope to see you there. So, yeah.